The car behind me had been there for 40 minutes. I noticed it first when I pulled out of the grocery store parking lot. A dark blue sedan, maybe a Civic or a Corolla. The kind of car you'd never look twice at. It was just sitting there when I left. And then, it wasn't sitting anymore. It was moving. Right behind me. I told myself I was being stupid. I'd been anxious for months by then. My therapist, the one I stopped seeing because I couldn't afford the sessions anymore, used to call it hypervigilance. Your brain starts seeing patterns that aren't really there. Threats in empty hallways. Danger in normal things. I'd gotten better at talking myself down from it. So that's what I did in the car that night. I talked myself down. I turned left on Granger Street. The sedan turned left. I turned right on Holloway. The sedan turned right. I told myself that didn't mean anything. People live in the same neighborhoods. Roads go the same direction. Coincidences happen every single day and we just don't notice them because we're not scared. But my hands were already sweating on the wheel. I decided to do what I'd read online once. Something I'd filed away without ever thinking I'd use it. I passed my street. Just drove right past it without turning. If the car stayed behind me, then I'd know. If it turned off somewhere, I'd feel like an idiot and go home and make dinner and forget the whole thing. The sedan passed my street too. My mouth went dry. There was this metallic taste at the back of my throat. Like pennies. I gripped the wheel tighter and tried to think straight. I lived alone in a rental house on the edge of town, and the only person who would have noticed if I didn't come home was my sister. And she was 3 states away and we only talked on Sundays. It was a Thursday. No one was waiting for me. No one would know. I kept driving, and the sedan kept following, and I was trying to figure out what to do when I remembered my phone had been on low signal for 2 days. The cell tower nearest my house had been down for maintenance. I'd gotten a text about it from the carrier. I had maybe 1 bar, sometimes none, and calls kept dropping after 30 seconds. I'd planned to go to the library the next morning to use the Wi-Fi. I hadn't planned on needing to call anyone tonight. I pulled into a gas station on Route 9. It was lit up, and there were 2 other cars at the pumps. I felt the knot in my chest loosen just a little. Public place. Other people. The sedan would drive past. This would be over. I watched in my rearview mirror. The sedan pulled into the gas station. It parked at the far end of the lot, away from the pumps, away from the lights. It didn't pull up to a pump. No one got out. I went inside. I bought a bottle of water I didn't want just to have a reason to be there. The guy behind the counter was maybe 19, earbuds in, not looking at me. I stood near the window and looked at the sedan in the lot. It was just sitting there, engine probably running, and the windows were slightly tinted and I could not see inside. I stood there for 11 minutes. I counted. No one got out. I asked the kid behind the counter if I could use their phone to make a local call. He said the store phone was for employees only. He said it in that flat way where it wasn't personal. It was just a rule. I almost asked him to look outside with me, to see the car, to confirm I wasn't losing my mind, but what would I even say? Someone parked in a lot? That's not a crime. That's nothing. I would have sounded insane. I walked back to my car trying to look calm. The sedan's headlights came on. I drove to the police station. It was the only thing I could think of that made sense. The station was about 6 minutes away and the sedan followed me the entire time, hanging back just enough to feel casual but never far enough to disappear. When I turned into the police station parking lot, something broke open in my chest. My hands were shaking on the wheel. My eyes were burning. I sat there for a full minute before I could make myself get out of the car because I knew the moment I stopped moving, the moment I actually had to say out loud what had happened, I was going to fall apart. I had been holding it together for 40 minutes by telling myself I was probably wrong. But I didn't feel wrong anymore. I went inside and talked to the officer at the desk. I explained everything. The parking lot, the turns, the gas station. The 11 minutes. I heard myself saying it out loud, and I understood how it sounded. A car drove the same way as me. A car parked in a public lot. The officer had this expression: patient, polite, careful, the kind people use when they're waiting for you to finish. He took my name. He said he'd have a patrol car swing by my neighborhood. He said I should make sure my doors were locked. That was it. I stood there for a moment after he turned back to his desk. I wanted him to say something else. I didn't know what. Something that would make me feel like it was over. He didn't say anything else. When I walked outside, the sedan was gone. I sat in my car in the police station lot for 40 minutes before I drove home. I turned on every light in my house. I checked every room, every closet behind every door, the space under my bed. I locked both locks on the front door and pushed a kitchen chair under the handle, which I'd never done before and felt stupid doing. I sat on my couch with all the lights on and told myself it was over. Whoever it was had seen me go to the police and they were gone. I made myself believe that enough to fall asleep on the couch with the TV on. I woke up at 2 a.m. There was a sound outside my bedroom window. I don't know what woke me first, the sound or some part of my brain that was still listening even while I slept. It was soft. Slow. A dragging sound like something being pulled across the gravel strip that ran along the side of my house. It stopped. I didn't move. The house was completely still. The TV had shut off on its own. The only light was coming from the kitchen. I lay on the couch with my eyes open and I did not move and I did not breathe, and I counted to 30 in my head. The sound came again. Slower this time. Deliberate. Something moving along the side of the house toward the back gate. My body went completely rigid. My skin felt cold even though the house was warm. There was a pressure in my chest like something squeezing. My rational mind said, raccoon, neighborhood cat. A branch moving in the wind, but my rational mind was a very small voice, and everything else in my body was screaming. I picked up my phone. 1 bar. I opened the dial pad and held it. The sound stopped right outside the back gate. I lay there for what felt like an hour, but was probably 4 minutes. The silence after that sound was worse than the sound itself. Because silence means nothing happened, but it also means whatever was out there stopped moving. Stopped moving means it's standing still. And standing still means it might be waiting. The sound didn't come back. Eventually, my body stopped shaking enough that I could sit up. I didn't go to the window. I didn't check the back gate. I just sat there on the couch with my phone in my hand until the sky started getting light outside and I could hear birds and the distant sound of a car on the main road. In the morning, I found a footprint in the mud next to my side gate. 1 footprint. A boot, maybe a size 11 or 12, right by the fence latch. Just one. Like whoever it was had stood there, reached for the latch, and then stopped. I don't know why they stopped. I called my sister. I called her until she answered, and then I talked for a long time and she listened, and when I was done she said I should come stay with her for a while. I said I thought maybe she was right. I never found out who was driving that sedan. The police looked into it and found nothing. No footage from the gas station that gave a clear plate. No reports of anything similar in the area. Just a car that followed me, a sound in the night, and a single boot print in the mud by my gate. I moved in with my sister 3 days later. I told myself it was temporary. That was 8 months ago. I've been back to that house exactly twice. Both times in the middle of the day. Both times with someone else with me. I packed fast both times. I didn't linger. I still don't know what they wanted. I think about that footprint a lot. The way it was right by the latch. The way there was only one, like they reached for it and then heard something, or saw something, or decided something. I don't know what made them stop. I'm glad I don't know what would have happened if they hadn't. I live somewhere else now. Different city, different street. I feel safer most days, but I check my rearview mirror more than I used to, more than is probably normal. And sometimes, not every time, but sometimes, I'll be driving somewhere new and I'll see a dark blue sedan a few cars back. And I can never fully talk myself out of watching it.